doing, it's actually really enjoyable.
Going off of what Alex said about all of our crazy lifestyles, I think just like winging it seems a bit of a
That's what
starting
ended
point.
up making us single in our 30s.
It's just winging it.
Winging it.
We're all, hey guys, welcome back to Still Single. This is episode 5. We're 3 sleepy boys. Sleepy boys. But I got coffee. Do you guys drink coffee?
I
I have
do.
that Alana thing that you were hyping up.
It's Alani. You name it Alana. It's like one of the girls you've dated.
Never. I've never dated an Alana.
I can't date and or marry an Alana because
Why?
then she'd be Alana Kahana.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a joke my mom used to always tell because my next door neighbor's name was Alana.
Is there any name that would rhyme with Weber? Jebber.
Heather?
Heather Weber.
No,
Can't do
Heather's get at me.
You heard that when you said it out loud, right?
Heather
Yeah.
Weber.
What about Moore?
Rob, where are you?
Lore?
Lore Moore. Yeah,
Hi,
Lore's
I'm
a
Lore
name.
Moore.
Hi, I'm Lore Moore. Oh, Lore, like Laura?
Yeah.
But Lore for sure. Or Lori.
Yeah. Yeah, you get it.
I'm at my in-laws right now. I'm house sitting because they're still in upstate New York. So there's a lot of animals here, man. 4 cats, 2 dogs. There's some raccoons.
Is it just you there?
It's just me. Yeah. So it's been good. I'm looking out at a beautiful like backyard. There's olive trees. It's nice. It's very quaint here. Where are you, Jordan?
I'm in South Orange, New Jersey, at my brother's home. He has 2 little kids, a 3.5-year-old and a 1-year-old. Some of the cutest little kids around for sure. I might be biased, but yeah, it's a handful. It's a balance between like amazing birth control and being like it's fun being an uncle and this is aspirational.
We'll go into that a little bit. What do you mean, like amazing birth control?
I mean, come like 7:30 when the kids woke up, it was nonstop until the 3.5-year-old went to camp. And the 1-year-old, they have a hired nanny to help them out throughout the day because my brother is an entrepreneur and um, my sister-in-law works from home like 3 days a week. And the juggling and the running around of like having kids isn't just like all the cute Instagram photos and just being like it's a lot of work. It's really intense. So, and as someone with how old's Leia?
Leia's 5.
Okay, so a little bit, the 3.5-year-old is a very like intelligent person and can like do a lot of her like get her own shit done in a lot of ways,
Right.
but still obviously needing a lot of um guidance and all of that. So it's it's just a humbling experience, I think, each time. And I think as I get older and older, it's a little less of birth control and more of just like the aspirational elements of it. Um, but at
I
this, yeah, go ahead.
so like I grew up with I have 2 younger brothers because my parents got remarried and they're like I'm 34 and my 2 younger brothers are 19 and 22. So when my mom remarried and then we had or they had my younger brother Jonathan, who I call Yoni. I was only 13, and then there was this like ongoing joke through high school that like my little brothers were like the best version of birth control because it was a fucking shit show. Like there was just there were little children and I was in high school and it's like I don't know, I guess it kind of worked to my not to my favor, but like when Noelle and I had Leia, I just felt a little bit more comfortable being with a little kid. And I know that not a lot of people have that and not a lot of new dads like have that experience. So I don't know. It's one of life's beautiful gifts.
Were you helping out a lot with in that situation in high school? Like,
I wouldn't say a lot. Like they had a nanny, and my parents would always be like, "Why aren't you helping with your brothers?" And I'd just be like, "I don't know what that looks like. What do you like expect from me?" Like they're fucking little toddlers or babies. Like I love them and I love spending time with them, but like I don't know how to like take care of, like I don't know. So, but it's funny. My mom was always like, "It's birth control. Ha ha ha. Wrap it up, Robbie." She still says that.
Should we say wrap it up, Robbie?
She would say, "Wrap it up." Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
my mom would be a little bit more like, if you don't, you die type of thing. Like,
Wearing condoms.
yeah, just with like the way the intensities of STDs back then. They're like, if you don't wear, if you don't use protection, the diseases that come from it like can kill you, which is
Yeah.
not a lie.
No, I think in college then like we all learned like, oh, I mean,
I guess I'm just your mom pledging Delta Chi? Like wrap it up, Robbie. It's just like a very kind of broy thing.
wrap it up, bro. What's the matter with you? Mom, stop calling me bro, A of all. And B, please leave me alone. No, I don't
It's a
know.
good
That's just
sentiment.
it's just how it is. What did your mom tell you about sex
She
when you were
just she
little?
just said, please be careful. Yeah.
She said, please be careful.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't little. Like I wasn't little, like high school, college, into my adult life. It was just please be careful, which is yeah.
I mean, I always yeah. Um well, I have a fear of like pregnancy scares because I was like a pregnancy scare, and I like my mom had me when she was really young. She was 19. So it's just like that's been a deep-seated fear. But then like when Noelle and I were trying to get pregnant, it was just like, "Well, okay, we did it." And then it happened. So, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot
So
of avenues we can go here. I have like
We're like tiptoeing the line here on everything. Like
I mean, all right, so there's a few avenues. One of them was I was genuinely wondering, Rob, how it was you being there at that house, like how you're doing with that, but it might not be a thing anymore. Like you might just be all good.
which house? At the house I'm at?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm great here. I
Yeah.
love it here. I feel like this is like my second home, and it's also Leia's second home. So it
That's
feels
cool.
really good to be here. You mean like in relation to Noelle passing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming up on 3 years, guys, since she
Yeah.
passed, which I just, I think that is a significant amount of time. There's no like time stamp that goes, oh, I'm better, or like I feel good. You just get used to the pain and then you like grow into the pain, but grief sits with you always. Um, but I definitely have like a very nice sense of uh, calm when I'm here, which is good.
Good man.
Yeah.
How we like started today was our lifestyles, I guess. And I don't know. I mean, I definitely have found in my life that can be challenging. And I'm curious for you guys, like Jordan, we can start with you. Deflect. I can start. It feels like self-involved to ask a question and answer a question. But I guess, have you found it difficult with your lifestyle, which is very travel oriented?
mhm.
Yeah. Have you found that tough in dating?
Absolutely. I think we've tapped on this a bit before, and like it's a common subject that you and I, Alex, have talked about off, like when we're not hitting record, of just presenting ourselves a bit of like wild card
Right.
element of that, or the instability of just like 1 week we're here and 1 week like one week
Yeah.
we're there and we can just do this and we're in and out, and there's no like, it's not just the, hey, on Monday through Friday, come 6 o'clock, we can go grab happy hour and then we're gonna watch The Bachelor and then Dancing with the Stars on Wednesday to get like, that's just not the consistency of that. Like, isn't, it's the, routine is lethal or some. I'm struggling to put together analogies or things because I'm literally on 3 hours of sleep.
You look pretty fresh.
Dude, you look
Thank
great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Good thing this is, we're just publishing audio so far. So like, and just the promo. So um I think the ring lights help a lot too. And just I'm waking up.
Red eyes are so brutal.
And the thing is the Denver to New York red eye, this is the first time I've done it, is not a true red eye. So it's just under 3 hours. Took off at or sorry, at midnight. And then I landed under 3 hours, like 2:45 later, and it's 5:30 or 5 o'clock
Okay.
in New York. So it's like, as opposed to LA to New York is 6 hours. So you can at least like
Actually sleep.
have like 4 hours of just somewhat poor sleep. But
Yeah.
hey,
I
for the
once took a
fam,
red eye from Hawaii to Chicago to start a new job the next day. And worst decision ever. Like I
Wow.
showed up on my first day and I was shaking with like exhaustion and I was trying to just power through. And I remember I had to like print something and the guys I was working with were like, "You don't know how to print?" And I was like, "I know how to print. I just can't function right now." But I didn't want to like let them know how exhausted I was because it's day one. First impressions, big
I,
deal.
I got one like that too. My girlfriend, this is back when I was 25. She was older and
oh,
I I really liked her. This is one where when we broke up, she's such a wonderful person. She really is. But we were not we weren't like life partners. And then there's one where when we broke up, everyone, like Rob included, my family was like, "Yeah, you all shouldn't have been dating." It was one of those where like, why don't you say it during it? But I get it. But one night we decided to take an edible, which I don't do, but we were like, it'll be fun. It was not fun. We stayed up all night. We thought our place was haunted. And then I showed up to start a internship at this production company the next day. And I drove to the parking lot and I was in the parking lot. I was like, if I go up there, they're going to think I'm a moron because I can't print. I can't answer a phone. They're going to show me the codes. So I called them from the parking lot saying I had food poisoning and just, I was like, I'd rather them think I'm a flake than a moron.
It's kind of funny that's like a fun challenge of like, what are two bad things, but like which one's better? Like for
Yeah.
you to show up unable to, and maybe we can apply this to like dating and relationships. It's like, would you rather, okay, here's a good one. Would you rather have a girl like hard launch you too fast, meaning like trying to like define the relationship date two, right? Because you have like a great first date, or a girl like not want to commit?
The former.
You'd rather hard launch.
Yeah.
What about you, Jordan?
I feel like someone doing that would give me I'd give me some pause and be like, we have to have a talk. But like, I think that jumps into the conversation and you get a better understanding. You know, I'm not always the best at the DTR conversation. So I know the importance around, excuse me, I didn't mean to cough right into it. This is the lack of sleep. This is just the
You know
struggle
what's
that's
funny,
happening.
dude, is like you're actually totally good, but I know the internal monologue. Like, yeah.
And then I'm realizing that there's no air conditioning. I'm like, am I hot? Am I hot? Am I expressing that this is? I would say, I mean, those are so. I guess that's why you play Would You Rather, because they're a bit too extremes. I mean, I guess it depends how I felt about the person who hard launched. Like if I was into it, it'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't love that, but I'm about it. Versus someone that you're about and they're not willing to. There's that balance, because if you're not about it, then you're just like, what are you doing? We haven't talked. So
Yeah.
if
We
you had
haven't talked about this.
yeah.
Okay, so you got to pick one. Which one? Which one do you want? Do you want hard launch or do you
So,
want
so I'm
a
into both of
non-committal?
them,
launch.
or it's a hard launch and someone that I'm not super into, or
Maybe you're
Okay.
super into them.
into both of them. I guess that, yeah, I'd love a hard launch from someone that I'm actually into. That'd be awesome. It's like getting a text back when you want it. Like,
Yeah.
must feel great.
Hell
Rob, you'd
yeah.
want that. You'd plan a trip to New York.
Okay, so it's
And
funny
then
enough.
cancel it. Like a,
Funny enough, I actually think I I I don't necessarily hard launch relationships, but I hard launch emotions and like trips, and that's definitely something I do. Uh, but I think in terms of preference, I would actually someone like non-committing might actually be my preference over the hard launch because then
okay.
it's just like I don't know, the chase or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
don't
you
want it to
want what you
last
can't
too
have and
long.
all that stuff. I think
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so there's another thing that I wanted to bring up that the more that I thought about was really intriguing. A friend of mine sent me this, and I sent it to you guys, but I actually like want to bring it up and chat with you because I think we all actually hit this. So, it was Logan Uri's statement, and they were talking about hiring someone and the efficiencies around it, and that after like
Oh, yeah.
it says interview 100 people, and after 37 pick who your favorite one is, and they applied it to dating. So I'm going to read it a little bit, and because I think that we do this, and or we had experienced this. So Uri recites a version that goes like this: if you're going to actively date from ages 18 to 40, by the time you're 26, you've dated around 30%, 37% of the people you will ever date. By that age, she says, your best ex is your benchmark. The next time you meet someone you like more than them, commit. And so I was thinking, and I was like, well, I don't know if that's true because I've dated so many people throughout like my time and us being in our mid 30s. But what I do think about is the girl that I dated when I was like 26 to 28 as my benchmark. If I do think that, and Alex, I know you were in a pretty serious relationship at that time too. And Rob, that's kind of when you and Noel like
Yeah.
became so when I initially sent it, I was just like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I don't really believe it. And then the more that I thought about it, I was like, wait, this actually might resonate as true.
It's an interesting, first off, the cat like tapping Rob to get pet was very cute. I was like,
I'm a cat guy. I'm a hardcore cat guy.
it's interesting because it's like, it's fun to explore. It's a super mathematical, unemotional equation applied to like a very emotional thing.
Mm-hmm.
The 26, that is something definitely pre that. And obviously there's exceptions, but like you're still figuring out who you are. We all are still figuring out who we are, but there's something to be said for the main thesis, which is at some point in your life, you're basically measuring everyone future to your best ex. That's basically what they're saying, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
We live in an interesting time though, where it's also like between social media and just, I think, high energy cities and all this, there's also this, which we've talked about, which is, a blessing and a curse, this notion of, well, what if the soulmate is just, right over there? So, you know what I mean?
Like swipe fatigue. There's so many options. There's always something better out there. I guess going the barometer of, if you like someone more than your best ex, commit. That stuck with me because like my barometer is Noelle, and it's just like it's my fucking wife, and it's kind of like shot me in the foot a little bit because I'm just like I guess my question is like, how do you not then compare, inherently right away to like an ex, which I've heard in my dating, journey, post Noel passing is just like, you can't compare exes. You shouldn't be comparing exes. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, well, this is saying like, actually, yeah, you should compare your ex. And then if somebody like raises the bar from that past ex, like commit to it.
Yeah, I agree with both of what you guys are saying, and it is a bit more mathematical of a thing. If this equation is
Right.
higher than x, then commit and solve to that, and that just doesn't always work. Just because we've talked about like people on paper and checking boxes, and what does that really mean unless they fill your cup. Like, if
Yeah.
does it are the is the energy correct, is it right, even though you know if you just go based on this kind of equation, who knows.
I guess in my gut, I guess there's two things that I'm leaning in. One is just knowing, trusting instinct and gut and like the amazing human creation that we are, that when you're with someone, you're just like, oh, okay, yes. Um, and then also faith, in a higher power, and also in myself, like becoming a best version that it'll come together. Do I know that this will? No, that's terrifying. But I guess I'm just opting for the faith route.
Well, I mean, inherently, I know that we're three single guys. We're gonna find an amazing partner.
Just hang in there, man. Just hang in.
Just hang in. Don't ever let go. It's I truly, I mean, as someone who has found that, I truly know that it is possible and it will happen again. And I mean, even if like Jordan, going back to like your ex from 26, 27, 28, like were you in love with this person? Like, was this like, because if you've felt love, if you've been in love, then like it's possible to happen again.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not saying that that's not capable in that stance. I just was saying that I know that we all had significant relationships in that window of time, and so to have this person say this in a dating realm of like, hey, at 26, like, you're gonna have a benchmark X, and it's just like, that's not true. Like, I've especially with how the dating apps are, and then when I paused to think about it, it was just kind of like, oh, actually all three of us have. So I just wanted to press on it a little bit more, and
Well,
kind of see.
and I think that that's something also, I mean, I might be taken in a slightly different direction, but it
Do
was
it.
almost, are you telling me to put my mic up? Is that what you're doing, Rob?
Thank you.
Does
Also,
Rob
can I
have
say
like a
really quickly
Twitch?
that this is another reason of why I don't like answering questions that are presented by Alex as deflecting, because I answer them so uncomfortably, and then we don't even get to hear your guys' answers on
Yeah, we
things.
did.
I
We
don't know
answered.
if we heard Alex's answer.
What
Yeah,
was the
like
question
it's
again?
You asked the question.
it's always like, hey, let me
I
ask a
genuinely,
super personal question that goes on, and then you guys just do your like fucking improv rant on things. And it's like, and we're 15 minutes away from it, and now we don't even know what the question was to begin with. And it's just like, cool, okay, I'm so glad that I just like pull down my pants while you guys are just like, we're just two loving guys trying to find love. Like, I'm like, all right, great. I really put myself like,
You're
no, man, you
sweating in your
crushed it, dude.
brother's
That
I'm
attic
was
right
sweating
now.
so bad, right? It's
You don't
so
look sweaty.
hot.
You don't look
You
sweaty.
look great, dude. You look crisp.
There's no air running, flowing in here. It traps
You
it
look
all
great,
in.
man.
I'm in the attic in his office. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well,
What were you saying?
yeah. Well,
No, I think, because I don't remember that question. I think I was going to take it another way, which
I
was
hate it here so much.
I have two things on my mind, but one of them was, I mean, we've talked about this before, but it's a very real thing also, where I don't know, like so many of our relationships in your 20s or whatever, they just somehow, I'm generalizing again, but they just like end up being a year or 2 years or 3 years. And that's such a significant amount of time that I also think now at the place we are, I think I'm just very probably overly cautious of, like when I was 25 and I had a 2-year relationship, if that same relationship was now, would I have proposed? Would I have, do you know what I'm
probably.
saying? Just because of life situation. So I don't know.
I think you would have. I mean, a lot. Look,
Probably.
a lot of our friends are getting engaged or are married with kids, and I think if you meet somebody at this stage, like if I meet somebody and I'm just like, oh, like holy shit, this is it. I mean, I'm gonna pull the trigger. So,
Most of my friends are married. Like I think outside of Still Single podcast, no, but most of my
Right.
friends now, like I did the wedding routes.
Yeah.
Are your guys friends?
I'm going to a wedding. That's why I'm in New York right now for a wedding this weekend, and then 2 weeks from now, I'm going to another wedding in Chicago.
Okay.
All of my friends are married or like they found the one, except for maybe one friend in my
Yeah.
Chicago group.
What a
And then
loser.
he's actually not a loser. He's
I
living in Mexico
know.
City. He's
I
crushing life.
know.
And I'm sure he would totally commit if he met the right person. Who else? Like NYU friends? Yeah, everybody's in like fucking committed relationship or like they found the one. So
I
it's
had a
just us.
super different topic. I don't know if we want to though, because this is kind of we are like kind of a we got kind of a groove. So I don't know if I need to throw another.
Throw it out and then
Okay.
deflect
Say
to
that
Jordan.
because I can take us into a different direction with that as well.
Okay, so if this bombs, but it's not. It's just well.
Hey,
you
let
know,
me ask a
Jordan,
question, Jordan. What do you think?
Yeah, what's the meaning of life, Jordan?
Jordan? Is there a God, Jordan?
All right. So I think it's an interesting thing, and I have thoughts. I'm curious, you guys. So like passionate beliefs or like convictions or deep beliefs. So Jordan and I had a talk, and for me, it might be, you know, views on the world or what I believe or fulfill my purpose or things like that. And Rob, we were talking about the other day of Judaism. And that's obviously a very strong belief in your life. And Jordan, I'm curious if you have one like this, but basically dating and that's the question. How do you navigate dating and that? Yeah.
Jordan.
Well, I'm actually interested more so because I mean, being Jewish as well, but I don't put that same precedent on it that Rob does. And so like, hearing that question, I'm almost like, all right, what am I drawing the line on, or what does really push it for me? But I know that this is important for you guys. So
Good deflect, man. Good bounce pass.
Wow,
thanks.
there's just deflect on deflect. So you want me to talk? Is that what you guys are
I
trying to
just
say?
yeah, if we
Yeah.
could.
Tight. Okay, so as the resident Jewish boy, well, Jordan's Jewish too. Yeah, you just said that. Um, it goes back to my mom being like, you need to
Wrap it
only
up, bro.
date, yeah, wrap it up, bro. And then like, you better only date Jewish girls. And like, literally, I remember in middle school, I dated a girl named Antoinette, or maybe it was freshman year of high school. I don't remember, but like, I loved Antoinette. I was so into her. And then my mom found out that we were dating, and she's like, you need to end it right now. And it was like, first of all, total overstep, and I should have just been boundary, like shut up, or not shut up. You don't say that to your parents or to anyone really, but just like no, like leave me alone. But it kind of put into my head like, only date Jewish girls, and I've obviously I've dated non-Jewish women, and they're incredibly lovely. So it's not a question of like, will I exclusively only date Jews? I think there is a part of me, especially as a dad, that it's like, if I'm going to commit, be in a committed, serious long-term relationship, build a home with somebody, potentially have more kids, I think it would make life easier if we were both of the same faith and we were both Jewish.
Would you be open to someone converting like Noel did?
I mean, Noel converted, and it was a beautiful, process. And so, yeah, I'm definitely open to it. I think it's a hardcore process,
Is
but I
it?
don't
Yeah.
know I would do it again, if that makes sense.
Sure. I remember you all were living walking distance to the temple, and it was Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did that
Yeah.
for a year, and then for about 2 years, we were like modern Orthodox,
Right.
and it was intense. It was beautifully intense. It was absolutely awesome, and I have no judgment of that community or way of life. I mean, my older sister's modern Orthodox, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's jumping into the deep end with it versus just like, cool, we are reformed now, and
Right.
like Hanukkah gelt and dreidels are awesome, and challah on Friday. It's like versus modern Orthodox is that's jumping
Pretty
in the deep
intense.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, I guess that's where I'm at with
I didn't know
all
you
of it.
dated Antoinette. Look at you, just crushing it. Team
Dude,
Bob.
Antoinette was, I remember listening to John Mayer and like being like, I'm
Oh
in
my God. Can
love.
we talk about John Mayer for a minute? Let's just tangent here for
Let's
a
just
second.
tangent to Johnny Mayer. Yeah, I just remember like, your body is a wonderland, and being like, Antoinette's, she's the woman of my dreams. I love her forever, and I will never love again. I mean, I'm a deep lover. You guys
You
know
are,
this.
dude. You're. It's a beautiful thing. You're romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me your best John Mayer story, Webbs.
Whew, that's a hard pivot. My best John Mayer, and then I'll answer the question. My best John Mayer was Jordan and I driving to go skydiving, singing "Free Falling."
So
It's really great.
You guys made out afterwards, or what happened?
Well, so last summer when Alex and I were rented a house together in Boulder with one other friend, there was just this moment that we were both talking about it where he just kept singing Gravity, but I was obsessed with Bold as Love. We didn't like really piece it together that we were both like somehow fell into the fact that we were both like listening to Continuum nonstop. And then once we realized that we both were, it was just like at least twice a day, just like comes, but or if we were either of us were in a mood, we like knew to just like put it on a loudspeaker.
Hell yeah.
He's a fantastic artist.
Yeah,
He's a wonderful
Continuum
artist.
is just a perfect album. Also,
Have you seen him live?
That was my
No,
first
that'd be fun.
concert.
Wow, we should go. Still single.
Still single. Get t-shirts.
Yeah, still single. So Webbs. So going back to your original question about religion,
and then we'll toss it over to
religion and dating, as you prefaced it.
Well, beliefs in dating. So
beliefs. Oh, so it's not only religion; it could be beliefs.
Just like if you have like a really strong conviction, a really strong belief, like I do have strong beliefs about things in the world, and that's.
Well, wait, I just want to jump in then because
yeah.
core values, aside from being Jewish, like there are plenty of core values that I've shared with non-Jewish girls that I've dated, and that is a beautiful thing. Like core values are core values. So
I was mainly, I think people listening, I'm sure other, people have their own version of this, whatever that might be, like. Some people, it might be like, I dated someone who was very adamant that she never wanted to have kids. And we like really hit it off and have like still talked like through the years. And she's like, I just really don't want to have kids. And I'm like, I really want to be a dad. And so that's, I guess, another example of, a core, deep, convicted belief that is something to navigate in dating. So it might be religion, it might be worldviews or politics, or it might be, something like that. Anyways, that's where this question came from, which I think is like a very real thing. My answer to it is like, I've definitely navigated where I know that the things that I have strong beliefs on are very confusing. And like, we live in a very like heated time. So I've learned how to navigate it, but ultimately I also know that there's almost like 3 avenues of people that I've met. The first avenue is like people who don't agree with me and then also like are pretty like contentious.
Yeah.
And I've gone on a date with someone like that and it ended quite quickly. It was like, all right. But I also realized that if we couldn't really talk or move forward in that way, there was probably going to be other things down the way. So it was almost a blessing, even though I was a little bummed at the time. It was almost a blessing because it was like, well, we probably wouldn't be aligned or be able to navigate other things down the road. So better to know now at the gate or the trail opening. The other one, yeah.
No, I don't know if that even falls under the category of red flag. Like, let's say if you're super conservative and you go on a date with the girl who's super liberal.
I'm not super conservative, just to clarify the example there.
No. Okay. Yeah, so you're not super conservative, but let's think of another one then.
But I just
like somebody who's a meat eater, but goes out with a vegan. who's like really intensely vegan, and you know, that I don't think that being vegan is a red flag for somebody who's a meat eater like myself. It's just like a core thing. And
Right.
then you kind of think in yourself of like, well, like I do love grilling steaks, you know, is that going to
Yeah.
be a problem?
I think that's
I
totally
think,
fair.
but yeah, it's a compatibility thing. You know, I went on a date with someone and we like were having a good time hitting it off, and I was like, all right, let's go get like some food together. And I was like, what can we do? And she was like, I we'll go to the grocery store and I'll pick up a microwave dinner. And I was just kind of like, we can cook stuff. We can go out to a restaurant. We can. I think like that makes me think. You know, it's just like how can you stay connected and like from a meal standpoint at least is just can you go to the same restaurants? Are you going to be fulfilled if you go to a vegan spot versus like every time being like, does this place have vegan options? And like you adjust to it, and if you can get beyond the like core values of all of that.
Well, I do want to, I'm curious, Jordan. All right, I'm going to round this out because, but I'm
Okay.
curious, Jordan, because I'm what your, if you have one that is like a deep convicted belief that you're like, I would need to, because I don't know. So I'm genuinely curious. What all I was going to say was, I think there's three avenues. There's avenue one is they're not about it and don't want to be about it. So that would be
Mhm.
like if we're using, which is like a lighter example, the meat, the vegan and the meat, you know, maybe not to some people. You would just like disagree and not be able to be about it together. The second road is like kind of like amicably coexist with like mutual support, but not agreeing, right? You like love each other and support each other, and you don't
Mhm.
totally understand or align with that other person's beliefs, but you're like, cool, I love you. And so it's all great. And I think that that has a lot of potential. I don't know though if it has, I think you have to have a really strong love though. And the other one is like, you both got to be about it. And
Like
I think
what is the you both have to be about it
it would be you
thing?
dating someone who Judaism was really important to and was strong faith.
Right.
Yeah.
And Webb's, what is yours?
For me, it would be understanding that at a core level, there are dark things going on in the world, and that my purpose on earth is very tied to fighting against that. And that's
You're a
going to really,
superhero.
sorry.
You're a superhero.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for saying that.
You are changing the world with your words, literally.
But yeah,
Is he writing? Are you writing this down? Are
Did
you
you
no,
write
writing
down
this?
I'm a superhero?
Yeah. What
no.
just
So
happened there?
I was just internalizing. There's it's dude, there's like really challenging dark moments in that journey. But that's also I think why I bring it up is like I know that my ride or die, the person I'm going to bed with, the person I'm waking up with every morning, like I know that at some point it can't just be like a mutual coexist. Like I need like a warrior who's like, you know what I'm
She's
saying?
gonna
Like
fuel
feels
you.
it with
She's
me.
gonna fuel you.
Yeah.
Fuel you. That's hard to
Yeah.
say. You know what? Okay, have you guys seen videos of the Liver King?
Yeah.
Okay, the Liver King, and then he's got his Liver Queen, who's just as nuts. She's just as nuts as him, but supports the shit out of him. And like they're just these nutty meat eating,
Yeah.
liver eating peeps. And they've got beautiful kids. And I respect the shit out of them just doing their thing. But he's like, hey guys, it's Liver King with Liver Queen. And like she's just like, hi. And like
Wait, I was curious. Does she? I got to see the videos of her being nutty.
she's not nutty, but she's nutty by association. And
Yeah.
Nutty
she's
by
just
association.
she's his ride or die. Like you can just tell. And I think it's
So
beautiful.
are you saying Liver King and Liver Queen are couple goals?
Yes, 100%.
They
They
really do
live on
lead an
a
awesome life.
farm. Like she definitely loves the shit out of her man. He loves the shit out of her. Like that's a pure love. There's no like, you know,
Eats
you
so much meat.
it's so I mean they eat crazy shit.
Raw
But
meat.
yeah. All right,
But
Jordan. So
Jordan,
what is your like core belief, value, practice for your potential ride or die?
Man. Um
Don't sweat through your shirt.
can you see it? Is it are
No, you're
no. Oh yeah.
Okay, now we can. Yeah,
Now
yeah,
we
yeah.
can.
Now
You're
you
so
can.
sweaty in that
Yeah,
ad.
it's hot in here, and I'm realizing that all I've had is a little coffee today too. So I'm just like really like we're in the thick of it right now for me of just this really intense
It's
question. And
perfect time to be vulnerable, man. Just
exactly, I
this is the
know,
time.
just a sweat
Go
lodge of
there.
it. A core belief or just like I guess um y- I don't want to stall too long here because I was still trying to think through and Rob, like, to tell, like, the girl that I dated when I was 26 wasn't Jewish, and my parents kind of stepped in a little bit of just kind of like questioning it and put me in a rock in a hard place, and I wasn't in a um yeah, it was just a weird thing of just like, well, these are my parents and someone like people who I want to like support and have a good relationship, but also here's this person that I'm like really, really into and like growing this relationship with, and how do I navigate that? And it like blew up in a lot of different ways of just like not talking to my parents for like 6 months, as well as just like started going to therapy after because it was a really hard heartbreak and all that kind of stuff. And um so I understand that, and there's just this general like I especially I guess like I'm more connected to it from the Judaism standpoint because I grew up in that household and just like you date and marry Jewish, like that's what you do. And I don't know if I've like totally rejected that. But Rob, you and I have spoken about it where it's just like I don't know if I'm like generally attracted to the conventional white American Jewish woman. Um, and so but I'm not opposed to it. I do think like it provides somewhat of an ease of tradition and family, the ways that you were brought up in certain ways. So I don't know. I think just like the core values of being a good person, like there's definitely like huge, I don't know if it's red flags or just things of like people that I wouldn't be interested in dating when it, especially with how, Alex, how polarizing the world is right now. And there are people that take certain stances that you're just like, you
Whoa.
have gone too far off the rocker, both left side, right side, not even to make it so political, but of just like either way of like drinking too much of the Kool-Aid isn't good in any situation. Like if painting it with a broad brush that way. And that's kind of, I think, where I'm going to leave it of just being able to have an open discussion and to learn. And if you don't agree, then it's like, okay, thank you for telling me your side of things. And this just isn't a match.
I have a theory just hearing what you said, Jordan, and take this with a grain of salt. But I think you're gonna meet somebody and she's gonna instill in you like she's gonna have some core belief that you're very attracted to.
Hmm.
And I could see you like growing in that relationship and growing in that connection, being like, this is like, yeah, she's really into this and I'm really into that. And like I've heard of couples that like what comes to mind is my great grandparents. They were married for 72 years, and like my grandpa was obsessed with golf. And I know
Hmm.
golf isn't a core value, but golf is kind of a lifestyle, and it's one of those things that just like loves. And I remember I interviewed my great grandma, and she was like, yeah, Roy, that was his name. Grandpa Roy, he loved golf. So I was like, I'm going to love golf. I'm going to get into it. And like they spent their whole marriage like going on golf trips and traveling around. And like it was just like a big part of their, existence. And I think in my experience in relationships, like you have those like those core beliefs that you find a match with, and that kind of kicks things off. But then there's also like core beliefs that you build as a unit or as a team that then like
That's a good
leads to
one.
more.
Well, so that I'm curious to know because that made me then think as someone who just took a flight and happened to have a cute flight attendant, but like, is there something that someone does that automatically makes you be significantly more attracted to them? Because I know if someone says that they're a flight attendant to me, I'm just like, it's like she's an 8, but she tells you she's a flight attendant. It's like you're a 25. Like that's like
Because traveling is like
hit,
part of your core belief
hit me with
system.
that companion
Yeah,
pass and let's go.
right.
Or yeah. So
Because
I'm
you
curious
you
to know.
like this like free spirit. Like I'm just I'm bopping around from city to city, like literally like
Just had this visual when Rob was saying, which is it really is like such a wise point of someone might come into your life and have this whole passion or something that activates and brings you in. And that's so true. But I had this visual of just like Jordan, like really into Bikram, and like he has
Bikram yoga.
tattoos.
Dude,
And
I
he's, like,
love
really into yoga.
hot yoga is awesome, and I have been. We are at the threshold when it comes to me idealizing tattoos that I'm set on one for sure, and I'm like dabbling with at least two more. Where it's just like I need to just stop, like because this gets brought up in my head too a little bit of just like I feel like I'm just a generic looking person. Like there's nothing that's
You're
like
not.
out. And so I don't want to fall into like the trend or like this, seeing TikTok and social media where it's like guys with thigh tats or like getting a mullet, like things like that. That is just like, okay, I'm 35. I'm not like a lot of these kids are like 23, so they can, buzz the side of their head and it's not a, dye their hair or do stuff like that. But I just like what can I do to stand out that isn't like from a um just like an aesthetics thing, like what can I do but that is also true to me.
I mean, I've seen you like paint your nails before, and I've always thought that's kind of cool. Yeah, you got them painted right now.
Thanks,
Like
man.
I've only painted my nails one. Well, Leia painted my nails once, and I remember like wearing blue nail polish out all day. Like I went to the gym with blue nail polish, and I was like, everybody thinks I'm a freak, but the reality is, no one cares. Like no one really cares, and I
Mhm.
think tying it back to like when you meet the one or you meet the the person you want to commit to, it's like I would say the nicest thing, and I've experienced this before, is just this acceptance of exactly who you are when they meet you.
Mm.
And I know with Noelle and I, like, we met at 23, well really 22, and then like I fell hard at 23. I never felt judged by her. And I think that like that judgment, and we're guilty of it too. I mean, we date and we judge the person we're with, and it's like if you can find somebody that just accepts who you are in your core. And it doesn't mean that like when Noelle and I moved in together, she was like, you need to fucking clean up the shit, like your dishes, like you need to clean. She taught me how to like make a bed, like vacuuming. Like I got domestic as fuck when we moved in together, and it was awesome. Like I
You know
grew.
what's so interesting, man? I'm drawing a parallel of like, you know how, we're not brain psychologists, but you know how like there's some things, those one-liners that someone said to you randomly throughout your life, and for some reason it just like became like in your neural whatever.
Yeah.
You years ago, man, were like, um, I don't know, something of like, and just when you come home at night, you just clean up everything and you just put away all your clothes. And you just do it because you really love and respect the person you're living with. And that like got like, like seared into my brain. So it's interesting to hear you talk about it now.
It was, I mean, totally like Noelle, I would come home and Noelle would be like, what are you doing? Put your clothes away. Like, she wanted a clean home, and I totally respect that. And it was the right level of
But if
OCD-ness.
you
And
don't like leave things out, how do you know where they are? You gotta like, put.
you got to keep all the cabinets open. Um, yeah, no, I think in general, like because we're three nuanced dudes, and I think a level of acceptance of exactly where you're at is what is foundational for a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want it to come across that I'm like insecure in my body or doing things like that. It's just, it's I don't know if it's like a quarter life crisis or just trying to do stuff that is just like, what can I do? How can I be more of me? What is a representation of that? And not just falling in, into a trend that you see on the internet at this point because you're just like, oh, okay. And it's like I did this and it's a permanent thing on my body now. And the
What's
need
the
for
tattoo you want to get?
it's just this, well, it's a smiley face on like like right above my knee.
Do it. Sounds
I yeah.
adorable.
Yeah, it's great. I've never, I know that I want to do it. It's just I've built it up to a point where it's like, I want to go, like, do I do it when I'm in Chicago or when I'm in New York? And who am I doing it with as opposed to just me like strolling in and just doing it? So
Right.
I've like the experience around it, I've kind of just tried to like curate to be perfect, which is kind of just like stalled it. And that goes into life and anything of like stalling to make something perfect is you're just going to be in
Yeah.
stalled out the whole time.
There's no such thing as perfection.
Guys, this was an enjoyable one.
It really has. I feel like we got deep. We got saucy.
Jordan, how hot is it in that room?
I mean, it's not cold.
He's lifting up his arms and he's pitting hard. I'm kind of pitting too.
You're like
What?
outside in Pasadena right now, and I'm inside someone's home in New Jersey, and it is.
When I was in middle school, I used to pit through shirts, and I got so embarrassed. Like, or maybe it was high school, maybe it was like ninth grade or something like that. You know, like when you get sweat and it shows, and it was so embarrassing. So one dude was like, I use this thing called Certain Dry, and I use that every single day, and it would burn. And dude, I swear it like burnt off or seared close all my sweating vessels in my armpit, which is like wildly unhealthy, but I don't pit.
Dude, that shirt looks clean.
But you do know that that those sweat like glands go elsewhere. Like the joke around antiperspirant is that it like you sweat way more out of like your ass or whatnot.
Yo, I gotta say something. I was in New York last weekend and I was at the pool at Soho House because I'm so fucking fancy. And I was sitting in these green shorts, and I shit you not, I sweat through the ass so bad that I was embarrassed. Like I literally stood up, I covered my butt with my book, and I like skirted away into the bathroom, and I was like, I'm in the bathroom. I'm like, what happened out there, man? Like, did you spill water on your pants? And I'm like turning around. I'm like, how do I even go back out there?
Did you jump in the pool?
No, I didn't jump in the pool. I just kind of sat in it, and I was just like, all right, it's better to just sit down and let it like even get worse than to like stand. I don't know. It was so
walking out with the book behind you.
Doesn't that remind you of like middle school when you'd pop boners in class?
100%.
I remember getting so many boners in middle school and like having to like walk with my binder covering my boner and being like, I just have a boner in public.
Middle school's tough.
Lots happening in middle school.
What a nutty time. You're like you're literally, your body is morphing, and then you're like sitting 8 hours a day, and you're like, you can't talk, but everyone's like talking about each other. What a intense period.
And like that's like your girlfriend, boyfriend. I mean, that's when I like started really liking girls, was middle school. I got girl crazy in 7th grade. And then you just get a boner in math class.
Yeah, but Rob, I feel like you would, the girls that you were into, they'd be like, yeah, I'll make out with you. Versus, I don't know, for my situation, it was just like, I have a huge crush on this person, and it's just nothing.
Just unrequited love, unrequited middle school love. Oh, God bless her. Well, thank you guys for listening to episode 5 of the Still Single podcast. We've seen your comments on Apple Podcasts. We've seen your ratings.
Oh, do we want to do a question? I can get that question working from last one.
Yeah, we can. Sure.
Do we not do it? The one last? Yeah, do it up.
No.
On what Rob's saying, thank you for reviewing and for sending us DMs and all that good stuff. And it's cool to know what you enjoy hearing, and we're kind of just talking of what feels right to us. So
somebody recently goes like, podcast is binge worthy. So they like binged all 3 episodes back to back. Praise. So by the time you hear this, there'll be 5 episodes. Hope you're binging, binge junkie.
Okay, here's the question. Ready for it?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll end with this. We'll go around the horn.
Why don't you ask it and then you answer it?
He is so fierce from the good old TikTok.
Louder.
My question is, since you are dating in the wild and off the apps, how would you like to be approached by a girl? Like if you're in public and a girl notices you, like what is the best way for them to shoot their shot in public? Or how do you think girls should do that too?
Great question. Who's that from?
Kia So Fierce on TikTok.
Thank you
Kia
for
So
that.
Fierce. Thank you for that. I'll kick it off if that's all right.
Kick it.
So basically the question is how would I prefer a girl to shoot their shot if they saw me in the wild, to kind of ask me. So I think there's something very powerful about eye contact. And if there's a girl that just really makes a suggestive like stare at me, I can usually pick it up. And I can usually be like, "Oh, there's an interest there." And I would say that it's always like comfortable for a girl to just say hi, like, "Hey, hi, how are you doing?" Like, keep it really simple. But if you do make that, shoot your shot, like, just be like, "Hi, how are you?" And I mean, 9 out of 10 times, I'm gonna
Just
be like,
opening that door.
Yeah, just
I
opening
fully
the door.
agree. I was with my buddy the other day who's like, he's a very attractive man. I'll say it. He's a stud.
just a hot dude.
He's dating someone. But this girl walked up to him. So it wasn't me. Walked up to him and she was like, "Hey, are you single?" And he was like, "Oh, like, what makes you ask that?" And like, that was like a very direct shooting your shot. And I think if you listening are that confident or just kind of like carpe diem YOLO, awesome and amazing, and it's very well received. I would also say though, to Robin Jordan's note, like, if you just say hi, that is enough of, because I think also, and I carry some baggage and maybe these guys of like, we hear all the time, women are like, don't hit on, like, just like, I think there's a threshold for us guys to cross where sometimes if you see someone, you're like, well, I don't also want to bother them and I don't want to be that guy. And there's like a lot of kind of stigmas. So I think if you are even just like, "Oh, hey," or "Do you like that coffee?" or literally anything. So your shirt's blue. Like if you let us know like, "Hey, I'm initiating contact and I'm interested," I think the guy can take
The radar goes up. I mean, you're immediate.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a dog,
Yeah. Well, I have a funny story about like, the Rob talking about catching like eye contact or something like that. So I met this girl at a coffee shop and we had made eyes a few times. And so I was there was a seat that I was sitting at that was a window looking out and she had parked nearby. And so she said goodbye to her friend, paid more money, and then walked past the coffee shop and then walked back to her car. And like, because we had made eyes and she was with a friend, I thought that was a sign for me that she was like stalling a bit and so I was just like, well, I have to. She is like literally peacocking in front of me of just like, are you going to do this or not? And so I mustered the courage to ask for her number and all of that. And so when we went on our first date,
What
I
did you
brought that up.
first say? Did you first say hi? I don't want to interrupt, but I'm curious did you just like walk out to her car and we're like, "So
I was just
cars?"
like, I was just like, hey, can I get your number? Like, I know you're headed out. Like, and so I was like, well, hey, I'm Jordan. Can I get your number? Like, I know you're on your way out. And because we acknowledged that we had seen each other, but it was literally like barely anything. I literally was just like with my phone, hey, can I get your number? I know you're on your way out. Um, so when we went on our first date, I brought up, I was like, hey, so I have to like, call you out a little bit. Like, I feel like you were waiting for me to do this. Like this was a sign that you were giving me. And she was like, "Oh, actually, I went to the diner next door, but they were closed for painting, and so that's why I like walked past and then left." It had nothing to do with me at all. She was like, "I wasn't even wearing my contacts or glasses that day, so I like just kind of knew the outline of your shape." And it was
that's
like,
why I think,
awesome, great,
yeah.
that's great for me.
Like, oh, I thought you were peacocking and like trying to lure me in. But that's why, again, I think the eye contact is like, there's a moment where if you lock eyes with a girl, it can be like, hey, like it could even be the high. So obviously don't, stare at people all day like we do. But you know, I think in general, like just having that approachable, hi, how are you? Compliments work great. Really like your shirt.
And I agree. And I think there's something really lovely and like refreshing and honest when someone just, even if it's non-romantic and you're just like talking to someone at the local, whatever, but like if someone's just like, hey, you seem cool. I'd love to, like, there's something just kind of, I think, especially, and this works with both ways, women and men, but like in our highly digital, whatever land, someone just being very honest and human and like forward, I think is less is more, but I think it's like really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know in those situations, or when I see someone where I'm like, where we make eyes, or even, where it's just like, I feel overly compelled to introduce myself or see, if there's something beyond that, versus having that happen and just like leaving the situation. And then the what if, like, it's like, okay, you get reject, if it's like, oh, they have a boyfriend or they're not, like, you misread the situation. It's just like, okay, now you know, and it usually turns into a funny story, or like, as long as you don't.
Yeah.
Also, the more you shoot your shot, the less precious you are about
100%.
experiences. Like I like to shoot my shot. If I see somebody, I will go up and I'll just say, hey, how are you? Like, I like your dress.
Yeah.
I
Ask them about their 3 favorite fruits. Alex, definitely do that. Like, it's a.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm kind of like, I want us to be your still single besties. And so if you're listening, like, go shoot your shot this week. Like, that's our loving challenge.
Shoot your shot this week.
Because also I've had it go horribly a lot of times, or not even horribly, but someone just shoots you down or whatever. You still kind of walk back to your car or walk back with a little bit of peace of like, well, at least you went for it.
Exactly. That
Yes.
Like leaving the situation, having not, and then you don't know, and then you like get all worked up and you think about it, as opposed to just like, man, that wasn't as scary or as difficult. Like, and every now and then you will have like a crash and burn where you're just like,
Sure.
Did I have a seizure? Just like, did I stroke? Like, but that's everyone in a human situation where you're just like, okay, I'm not okay right now, and let me reevaluate that way.
Yeah.
But I agree with you 100% that the peace of mind from both sides, and then when even when you get a number and nothing like comes of it, still you're just like, it's the confidence and the reps of just not putting that much pressure. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So guys, this has been awesome. Jordan and I are gonna go take a shower. Weber's gonna sweat from his ass. Sorry, I mean, he doesn't sweat. Please leave a comment on Apple Podcasts. It really makes a huge difference for us. And send in your questions for episode 6, and we will be sure to read all of them. You can follow us at We Are Still Single on Instagram. You can follow me at Single Girl Dad. Follow Weber at I'm Alex Weber, and follow Jordan at Jordan Kahana on Instagram and TikTok. And we love you guys.
Love
so
you all.
much.